I'm that girl who knows the significance of what the day brings. Jazz hands, right? And lots of people emailed me because they're in a different time zone than me. And so when they heard the news, had to share it because they heard through their own channeling, through their own quantum sessions about the significance of people's exit points and what that will mean and how that will unfold and all that fun times, right? So it is significant. So, well, we know what's happening and why. Remember those people who are still grieving for someone they feel is a huge staple in their family diet of history. So they will be completely oblivious to other agendas, other collectives, and a whole lot of stuff, right? So while we can be on one side, very aware of all of that shenanigans, we also have to almost not be so happy. um, I mean, we're excited when we see big things happening to help us shift. And when we see certain things like this, right now, all mourning for humanity, right? Because they feel like they have lost a significant key member of their lives. Most people have had her as a staple diet in their lives one way or another, right? So fantastic, right? So while everyone comes together for grief to cry because it's so sad, blah 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 blah, I mean that, I'm not trying to be a dick, but sometimes. So our duty, our responsibilities is to support those people who are really struggling, right? We know people use being a victim as a tool to be able to show the world their hurt. And so when we see on social media or when we hear people really struggling, they're in such deep grief and despair. This is it, guys. This is when we're supposed to be those big loving beings. Not a good time to disclose crimes against humanity, FYI, okay? Because they're just in grief and they need you to support them with their fear of death, with their despair of losing someone they love and feel is a very iconic, super special person. We know that, regardless of who you are, if you die, then people talk good stuff about you, right? They will never talk to you to your face about how good you are. They'll wait till you're dead and then you're a superhero. Sometimes, right? We've seen this before. So, it's a great opportunity to reach out and be our light loving humanitarians where allow them to acknowledge their despair, their mourning, their grief, their shock, their pain, the worrying for the corgis that are left, worrying about the horses that are left and blah, 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 right? Like they're going through it all. You have to see that what they are losing and what they're, reacting to is potentially a death of a grandmother figure or a heroine or an influence or someone that they've sort of put up on a pedestal. And so again, support their emotions, respect their journey with it, and this is a fucking fantastic time to talk about reincarnation. Talk about death. What does the death mean to you? And while, we need to sort of support them in their shock and their journey, if they're really hurt because they haven't processed death before, or they've distracted themselves from death, or there is a lot of death around, we can't shortcut their process for the journey. So allow them to have all the range of emotions and get them to have open conversations, dialogue with you about death, the death process, and allow them to mourn and grieve, because we know it's such a taboo topic. We know that people would prefer to do other things than talk about death and end of life and loss and pain and all of that tragedy, right? So this is a really great way for humanity to come together to heal and to share feelings of the death process. Fantastic, right? unity, over grieving. It's going to be lots of reflection on past. We're going to be reminded, very quickly about, world wars and a whole lot of history that we are allowed to discuss. It's acceptable, because anything that's on mainstream media, that's a cue that we're allowed to talk about that type of history and the information there. So it's going to remind a lot of people about, the last of decade in history. And this is going to conjure up a lot. Fantastic that they're allowed to mourn and grieve, because they're going to be really triggered emotionally, and they're healing. So as much as we have our own opinions about who she was, what collective she's connected into, and all of the things she did with her free will choices, and when she actually did depart, that's that's amongst friends. We're talking and supporting those who are despair. You were going to see some elderly people in our supermarket shopping today, if we go, who are going to feel it all and be just struggling. And so, fantastic time to not be a stranger. Fantastic time to go to these people who are facing maybe their own fears of what their journey lays ahead. So be that light lover, be that warrior of compassion, whatever you want to label and understand your role here on this planet. This is a great time for us to love those people who are just so grieving for someone that they feel is special to them. And while we may have other opinions, those people that we want to help, they are special to us. And so however they're processing this, however, we're here for it. We're here to love them and support them and save our own thoughts and feelings, push them aside, deal with them on our own private time, right? Find our own balance, figure out what's going on for us and what we are thinking and feeling. Interesting times, fantastic times. And we knew that events were going to come, such as this, that were going to be purposeful. And while from a metaphysical perspective, this is great time for unity and for people to come together, amazing more times to come. So jazz hands, everyone. Please keep drinking water. Encourage your grieving friends who are in shock to drink water too. We're here to be of service. This is the time to shine, my friends. Have a fantastic day.